have spent a lot of time working on our sight words, our letters, our numbers, and our names. Now that your student has had lots of practice with writing their sight words, now let's apply those sight words to our writing. We are going to begin with writing sentences, and we are going to start with one sentence. However, if your student is already writing their sentences, I would definitely encourage writing about 3 sentences. As you know, our end of the year goal is for our students to be able to write 1 to 3 really great sentences. And what I mean by great sentences is that they should have finger spaces, they should have a proper capital letter at the beginning, and then have their punctuation at the end. Of course, all of our students are within different stages of writing, as you saw the different stages that we have as our students move through the writing process. But we will begin working on a sentence today. I would recommend that when you're writing sentences, you focus on using one of those sight words that your student already knows and that they are familiar with. Today we're going to write the sentence, I see the sun. So as you are beginning to write, I would have that paper in front of you. Here is that paper that I mentioned in the last recording that I really love because it not only has the lines for your student to write on, but it also has a spot for them to put their picture at the end. As always, encourage your student to be sitting properly in their seat to reinforce that when we write neatly. Our letters are formed from top to bottom. And remember that as our students move through the different stages of writing, we want them to write what they phonetically hear. So, of course, not every word is going to be spelled correctly, and that is okay when our students are in kindergarten. We want them to write what they hear, and we want to build up their confidence and their self-esteem so that they are able to sit down and write freely. We don't want to go back and tell them that they are wrong all the time or that they didn't spell a word correctly, because that will hurt their self-esteem, and then they will be more hesitant to sit down and actually write. So let's begin our sentence. I have here what I like to call Mr. Spaceman. And Mr. Spaceman I found online and printed him up. And this is really fun because it helps our students with remembering to put their finger spaces between their words. So we're going to work on the sentence, I see the sun. However, you feel free to do whatever sentence your student chooses when they're doing their writing for today. So I would do your writing in several stages and put it into a couple of days worth of writing. The first day they will write their sentence, the next day they can come back and do their illustration, and then the next day they can come back and edit their work, which means to make sure we have our uppercase letter at the beginning, make sure that we have our finger spaces, and make sure that we've included some punctuation at the end. Of course, this will all require practice, and your students will get better and better as they write every single day. I, finger space with Mr. Spaceman, see, and this is a sight word, so I would encourage you to get your sight words out, flip through those index cards, find the word see so your student can spell that word correctly. I always say at this point in the year, if it's a sight word, that it should be spelled correctly, because we can simply find that sight word and then look it up to see how it's spelled. Mr. Spaceman, in between our words, the is also a sight word, so have your student find that word and they can spell that word correctly as well. Mr. Spaceman, and then the word sun. When you're writing with your student, it's very important for you to sit there with them and stretch out those words so that they're able to hear all of the different sounds within that word. So we're going to stretch out the word sun. Sun. Ask your student, what do you hear at the beginning of the word sun? Your student will say S. Sun. Sun. And then maybe your student will say N. Of course, we know that the word sun is not spelled correctly, but like I said, students are writing what they phonetically hear. So if they just hear that S and that N, that is okay. That is a great start for your student. And then this will also help you to realize what your student may need to work on. So from this, we can see that we need to work on middle sounds, and we need to maybe work on our vowels and the different sounds that our vowels make. So this is a great start to your writing. We will come back tomorrow and we will move into the next step of what we can do with this as well. Happy writing!